All right, here we go. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the groundbreaking here at Tyson Tyson Edge Hill Road. On behalf of Governor Tom Ridge and Secretary Tom Wolf. I knew I was going to do that. On behalf of Governor Tom Wolf and Secretary Leslie Richards, I'm honored to be here today in Abington Township. Today with our distinguished elected officials and guests to celebrate the start of work on Edge Hill Road and Tyson Avenue. My name is George Dunheimer. I'm the Assistant District Executive for Construction here in the Philadelphia region. Today's groundbreaking marks the start of a project that has been 10 years in the making. 20 years in the making. Today's event speaks of an enormous amount of commitment and collaboration between Abington Township, our partners, and stakeholders to see this project from concept through construction. Under the improvement project, Edge Hill Road and Tyson Avenue will be reconstructed to improve safety by incorporating curbing, parking lanes, sidewalks, new signing, and signalization improvements. The project will also include upgrades to several of the adjacent township roads, including the adjacent Jenkintown Road right here. In addition to safety improvements, flooding concerns will be addressed through extensive drainage improvements and green stormwater practices. Specifically, Pannoni Associates work closely with Abington Township's Shade Tree Commission to design a regenerative stormwater conveyance. We are delighted to be here today, joined by local, state, and township officials that certainly recognize the importance of this project and the need to improve these critical roadways in Abington Township. It gives me great pleasure to announce our speakers for today's event. State Senator Art Haywood, State Representative Madeline Dean, Abington Township Commissioner Dennis Zappone, Abington Township Commissioner Carol Gillespie, and Matt Edmonds, Montgomery County Planning Commission. Unfortunately, prior commitments did not allow for Congressman Brendan Boyle or Montgomery County Commissioners to be here this morning. So at this point, I'd like to introduce our first speaker, State Senator Art Haywood.
Thank you so much. Thank you. First of all, I want to thank all of you who are gathered here today, but especially Madeline Dean. Mad shared with me she grew up further down on Roberts, has been a neighbor here for pretty much all of her life, and her team has led to this change. I want to thank PennDOT and also obviously the Township Commissioners. Now I got to tell you, some of you know that my office is right over in Roslyn, right at really almost at the end of Tyson, right around the corner. And actually, I come down this corner to my office frequently. Even this morning, I came this way, and one of the things you'll find on Tyson, which I found this morning, if there's an Abington trash truck, you can't get around that trash truck. You cannot get around. And I see that some of the improvements will allow, hopefully, for that to happen so that midway can be eliminated. And that is very important. As well as the jobs that are created here. We in the legislature years ago put money aside for infrastructure improvements, roads, bridges, as well as looking at drainage and other issues. This project is a direct result of those spending objectives. This is your tax money at work, even if it took 47 years or 20. But I do want to thank each of you, particularly the neighbors, for enduring, for persevering, for the township enduring and persevering, and the office of Madeline Dean for being the voice to make sure there was some accountability, the leadership to bring it home. Thank you all again. Want to introduce our soon-to-be Congresswoman, Madeline Dean.
Thank you, Senator Art Haywood. I'm delighted to be here, and Art, you're very generous in your compliments for me, but really, this is a day about community. This is a day about a tremendous number of experts, lay people, neighbors, township folks, county folks, engineers, you name it. This is a day about community. My name's Madeline Dean. I'm state representative here, and I have to tell you, I'm at the end of about 6.5 years of representing my community, the place I grew up. I grew up right here in Glenside. My brother Bob joins me. We were raised on Roberts Avenue. My father was raised on Roslyn Avenue. We have known about the need in the area of Edge Hill, Tyson our entire lives. So this project, it's an amazing moment to actually come to the moment of being able to break ground on a project that this community has cared about, asked for, pleaded for the better part of 40 years. But I will say it took neighbors. In about 2005, Henry and Nancy, was that about it? When you had a meeting on your front yard and said, please, we must do something about this. This is about community building. And what this roadway project does is bring federal, state, county, township, local participation to improve the lives, to improve our community, to make our roadways safer, to calm traffic, to provide sidewalks so kids can connect to their school buses, so working people can connect to mass transit, to stop the flooding that takes out basements, that floods yards. This is an exciting day of community building that is a long, long time in the making. So I want to thank Abington Township Commissioners, Zappone, Myers, Gillespie, Thompson, every one of the commissioners who really bought into this project. Abington Township Administration for your lead in this project. Pannoni for your tireless design. We met so many times. We tried to hammer out so many details, and you did it with such professionalism, so I thank you for that. PennDOT, led by Secretary Richards. How fortunate we are to have such an outstanding neighbor, frankly, Leslie Richards, as our PennDOT Secretary. I know I'm going to forget people. Belaga, where are you? Nariana Belaga, a partner in this from day one. He helped me understand the maze of what it is to get a roadway project as complicated as this done. In my office, I would be remiss if I didn't tell you that Kathleen Joyce is actually probably the single most important person, the linchpin in this project. Could we give her a round of applause? Where'd she go? Uh-oh, there you are. Hi, Kathleen. She doggedly stayed and connected with every one of our partners because she grew up here too. She knows the importance of flooding remediation here. She knows the importance of growing a more walkable, livable, bikeable, mass transitable community. But I want to end on this note. The people I am proudest of are the neighbors. When we took this project on, when we all said, how can we get this done? We knew that there were about 222 neighbors directly impacted by this. And a lot of people, including myself, said, how will we ever get agreement among 222 neighbors directly impacted by this? Guess what? We got it done because of fantastic neighbors like you. Everybody agreed. People signed off. The township solicitors professionally got them the information they needed to understand the changes that were coming and to buy into those changes. So please, let's give a very big round of applause to the neighbors of our community who want to build community. And with that, again, I'm just delighted. This is something that we thought about when I was a little girl. To see this actually beginning today, it's just the work of a tremendous number of people of goodwill who get that this is our community and we have a chance to build it and make it better. With that, I want to hand it off to Commissioner Dennis Zappone.
Thank you, folks. I'll try to make this short. I don't know where to begin, but I'm going to begin with this. Early this morning, I attended Mass. It's All Saints Day. And after receiving communion and leaving that church, I had a great feeling. And that feeling has rolled over to this project and to my residents. This is a celebration day for my residents on Edge Hill and Tyson. Give them a round. Absolutely. I can't believe this is actually happening. I inherited this project, which has actually been on the books since John Fox, or maybe even before that, was a township commissioner. It's been a long time. I have worked extremely hard on this project from the beginning, holding 2 town hall meetings a year. It wasn't until our township solicitor, Mike Clark, and his team got involved and pushed this project to where it is now. This project is not a paint and paper project. It's a flood control project that has plagued our community for years. I myself am a flood victim from the floods of 1996 and 2001, so I've been there. I know. In the flood of 1996, we lost 2 residents on Madison Avenue as a result of that 1996 flood. And retired Commissioner Ed Worster was the commissioner at the time. Ed was involved in this project during his tenure as commissioner. Thanks, Ed. During this process, and some years ago, I put out 2 surveys, asking my residents how they wanted these 2 roadways laid out. Overwhelming majority voted to have Edge Hill one way and Tyson 2 ways. This project will enhance the beauty of our community and save destruction to my residents' property. When the project gets underway, I will be in daily communication with the project manager. I can't thank our team enough. We kept our residents up to date during this entire process. So I want to give some thanks to Mike Clark, Lauren, and Georgianne from the Rudolph Clark. Debbie and Kazi from Panoni, also PennDOT's Mr. Valagot. This guy was a bulldog. Unbelievable. This team has worked extremely hard to get this project to where it is today. And I want to wrap up giving thanks to Jeffrey Knuppel from SEPTA's general manager. I bugged him dearly to help me push this project through with a SEPTA end. And if without Jeffrey's help, we would have still been standing still. But I worked very closely with Jeff to help push the SEPTA part of this directly through. Jeff would have been here today, but his schedule pulled him away. So I want to thank everybody that was on the team for making this happy. I can't believe we're standing here. I just can't believe it after all these years. This project is going to begin. It's going to start, okay? There'll be PennDOT people out here to keep an eye on things. I'll be calling constantly to make sure any complaints. So just bear with us during this entire project, and we're going to get through it. And remember, when this project is done, it's going to enhance this community. Beautiful, beautiful project. I want to thank everybody here, and especially my residents, for putting up with this for all these years. Thanks, folks. Commissioner Carol Gillespie.
Can you see me back there?
Stand up,
Well, I think everybody has been thanked, but I really, really wanted to start with, and I'm sorry, excuse my voice, I wanted to thank the residents for all they have been through for the last 40 years. I think it's about 40, to tell you the truth. My husband was a commissioner 18 years, and this is my 10th year, so I didn't even know what I was getting into as far as this project. It is a wonderful project. We're so excited to have, and this is the part, we will have neighbors. You will know your neighbors. You can walk down your sidewalk. You can park your car. It is just going to be fantastic. And thank you for everything that you have been through over these last years. And I also wanted to thank Panoni. They have done an excellent job. We did have many meetings. I wanted to thank Dennis. Dennis did not give up. He was a bulldog on this. And I really appreciate all that he had done. Again, also the township officials, the county, PennDOT. Oh my goodness, so much. And thank you also, Madeline, for all your help. So
With this voice, that's about what I have to say today. But again, thank you, everyone. And this is Matt Edmond from Montgomery County Planning Commission.
Thank you, Carol. Good morning, everybody. I was going to hold this. First and foremost, the commissioners for Montgomery County couldn't be here this morning. They had their regular twice-a-month meeting where they take care of their county business, and so they sent me here instead, but they wanted to make sure that everybody knew greetings from them, and they're very proud of this project and happy that it is finally moving to construction. That said, being the last speaker, there's usually not a lot that needs to be said. The speakers before me all gave thanks to the right people and talked about the importance of this project and all of its details, and there's really not much for me to say at this point from the county's point of view. But I will say this. This project is a story. It's a story about what can happen when a municipality is proactive, when it controls its own destiny, when it puts its resources towards a project, and when it decides that it wants to accomplish something and not wait for others to do it for them. You may not realize this, but Tyson and Edge Hill are state-owned roads, and some of the roads that intersect it, as George was alluding to earlier, they are roads that are township-owned, and certainly Abington Township over the last 15 years or so could have said, this is a PennDOT project. We're going to wait for PennDOT to come through and do this, and when they do, sounds great, we'll be right there cheering behind you. But that's not what happened. Abington Township worked with the county, worked with PennDOT, put this on the region's capital budget, called the TIP for short, got federal money, and moved it along. They decided they would control their own destiny and make this project a reality. And not only that, Abington Township put up the 20% match for this project to happen. They used their own money to match the federal money to push this along. When we work with municipalities in our office all the time, that's the message that we give them. Control your own destiny. Be proactive. Don't wait for others to do this. Because if you do, you might be last in line, or you might be lower in line than what you think you should be. And so Abington is the perfect model of how to work with the county, how to work with PennDOT, how to enter into these partnerships with others, to share costs, share resources, and get things done for the citizens and the taxpayers within their boundaries. And so with that said, I want to thank Abington, I want to thank PennDOT, and I want to thank all the players who are in this crowd and who have been part of this effort over the last 15 years or so to make this a reality. Everybody today should be proud. And with that, I'll hand it over to George for his closing remarks. Thank you.
All right, well, yeah, I have some thank yous too here, and I can just tell from the past several speakers, I'm going to not mention everyone, so I apologize if I don't, because there's a lot of people involved in making this happen. But I'd like to recognize Assistant District Executive Charles Davies from PennDOT, and as mentioned several times, Nariana Velica and George Gumas from HNTB, the right-of-way administrator in the district, Roger Joseph, utilities, but Marianne Lang, and our Chief Christopher Clemens from our Office of Chief Counsel. Our construction staff, which I'm sure these guys are the people that you're going to want to talk to in the next year or two. Brian Early, Sal Ali, and Ken Seal are back in the crowd here. They'll be taking the mantle, so to speak, and carrying it forward as we get into construction. Abington Township for their financing, and they're carrying it through the design phase. Former Township Engineer Michael Powers, who was instrumental throughout the project from concept through the design. Georgianne Fusco from Rudolph and Clark, very instrumental in performing the right-of-way acquisition. Deborah Ferraro from the Panini Associates, our project's designer here. And then finally, and I'm not sure if Avenizio is here, but our contractor will be C. Avenizio Incorporated. So we'll be getting to meet those guys as the project moves forward. And then lastly, to the citizens that live, work, and do business around here, thank you for your patience and your continued patience, because as we do a construction project, they're not perfect. There's going to be some congestion, there's going to be some dust and dirt, but we'll do our best to build this in the best way possible to minimize those impacts. Okay, we've come to the time. I know I speak on behalf of everybody here that this project has been quite a collaboration by many, many different state, local, and entities. But we're ready to break ground, so I would like to ask everyone to come over and get a shovel. Township manager is here, right? Maybe Brian or Sal, you want to come up? We're ready to break ground here, so come on up here if you want to help us out. If I miss somebody that feels important, get up here, because we got a lot of shovels, so we have spares too, so come on up. Throw it over there. We're going to pick it up and throw it over there. Everyone grab their shoulder. We're going to take some pictures here yet, so, does everyone got their shoulder? Yeah. Matt, you want to talk?
Yeah, I got it. Anybody we're missing?
Hold on.
We should get some residents.
Ed, come here. Ed, first. All right, we're good? That's okay. We'll get in there. Hold on. I'll count down. So, got the pictures? You good?
Smile, Dennis.
Okay. 3, 2, 1, shovel. Very good. You don't have to use the whole pile. Thank you all for coming out and spending some time with us to celebrate the start of construction.